Okay, and we are live.
Uh-oh.
Guys, I would like to welcome you to the Bassin Magazine podcast. Bassin Magazine is the official magazine of the Weekend Angler. With us tonight, we have a very special treat for you. We have a guy who fishes out west, fishes the Wild West Bass Trail, the Apex, and we're going to talk about a very special tournament called the Spartan 580 that he just recently fished. Spartan 580 was David Swinside, who's one of my favorite fishing pros. Gosh, I just cannot say enough about David Swinside. The guy is everywhere. He
Yep.
was big into the Spartan 580. I have none other than Greg Gutierrez, and also, guys, as always, we also have Brad Yoel from Bassin Magazine. So let's, without further ado, how are you doing tonight, Greg?
Doing wonderful. Got up this morning, went out. I'm taking a little break from bass fishing, and up here in the mountains of Northern California, up by a lake called Eagle Lake, and we're just catching some Eagle Lake and just, having a little break.
Having a little break.
I'm sorry, what was that, Brad?
How's your weather?
You know, it was supposed to get up to about 101 down in the valley where I live, but up here it's like in the mid 80s, so it's not too bad. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Long sleeve shirt, I'm not too bad.
Well, I saw that. That's why I was wondering. It's 101 here today, so I'm in Oklahoma. Woo, man, it's brutal. But your long sleeve shirt. That's what I thought I'd ask.
It's a dry heat.
Right.
It's a dry heat, just like in the oven, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Down here in Louisiana, we have a wet heat.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Like our shirts are wet.
Yep. Yep. It's true. It's crazy down there. You go from a shower to a sauna to outside and then back again.
Yeah.
Then you go into air conditioning, and it's all day long. Yeah, in the air conditioning, out of the air conditioning, 100-degree heat. It just.
I'm surprised you guys don't grow moss on one side of you. You know what I mean?
Never stand still long enough.
Or mold. Yeah. Yeah. I went to Gila Bend, Arizona, and they're like, "Oh, it's 110, but it's a dry heat." I'm like, "Dude, it's hot. It doesn't matter. It's hot."
It's
Yeah.
hot. I sat down on one of the buckles on my boat, and it's real hot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, Greg, tell us about the Spartan 580.
You know, I had to say that was the brainchild of David. I mean, and I'm a good friend with him, but it was all super secret, right? So everything was super secret for the Apex Tour, and he didn't even let me in on it. But I thought it was just a really neat. First of all, it was a neat nod to Aaron for the 580 days that he battled cancer, and that was one of the biggest things, and just that whole battling over a long period of time was what this tournament was set up to do. And so we went right into an Apex event, came right off the Apex event, and we're supposed to start the Spartan 580 event, and I didn't make the top 10, so I had this lull in between where it was like, okay, if I want to get the full effect of what this is about, then I'm just going to go splash the bass cat and go fishing in another area just to go try some stuff. So I went upriver, out of the way of everybody, put the boat in the water, ran around, learned some new water, learned some new techniques, and just tried to stay in tune. Loaded it up, went down, and started fishing it. I thought it was neat, just having the extended amount of days going out that weren't just practice days. Practice days are different than tournament days. Tournament days, you're burning everything up. You're going out there catching everything, and I was fishing a Bassmaster event on Clear Lake one time, and I laid off the fish, and I got this really good advice from Kevin Van Dam, who said, "Ooh, not around these guys. Don't lay off your fish. Keep going until they stop biting." So, you know what I mean? It's different. You're fishing hard. You're mentally working. Practice is not the same as tournament fishing. So now you just go on tournament day, tournament day, tournament day, tournament day. And I just thought it was really cool lake, just the way it is. On top of having a modified scorekeeping, with a largest 5 fish, and then your your total number of fish over 14. They set the bar high, and it's hard to get over it sometimes.
So how many days in a row did you fish? Did you actually?
I ended up Well, the whole tournament went clear into Saturday, which was, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Hang on, I may have to use my toes. 4, 5, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So total of 9 days straight.
Wow.
Yeah. I ended up I had previous arrangements, and I did not want to miss that whole Spartan event. So I went into it knowing that I was probably going to leave right at the last minute, as we started cutting. Uh, we got to Wednesday, and there was some weather coming in, and I kind of weighed what my choices were, if I was going to stay for the entire thing or stay through that whole weather event that came through. On the Columbia River, when you get those winds, in those 25, 30 miles an hour coming inland against current going out,
Oh
it's a
man!
totally different thing. It's
Oh man!
Yeah.
yeah,
You get some 5-footers with some mean breaks, huh?
yeah. No, your boat falls into some big holes out there. I've driven across Erie from Santa, 30 miles east, and turned around, and took me 3.5 hours getting back. But going in here, yeah, I got to tell you, my boat was a little dirty going into that tournament. I made sure I washed off every square inch of it, even inside of a couple of compartments. My club, inside of my bucket bass rain gear. I mean, I filled up everything. Quite an event, but yeah, a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and that's the whole thing. The guys that made it the whole 9 days, I made it um, 7 days, and ended up pulling out and heading to another event. I had one day of practice, with 13 hours of travel, with a quick layover to switch gear out, and then a day of practice and 2 days of tournament. So I was getting my money's worth also. It just wasn't going to be all on a club.
So nine. So was it an elimination tournament?
Yeah, actually it was going into it. It was an elimination event, and quite honestly, when it came down to it, there was 10 of us down to it, and that was it. We were going after 10 guys, just fishing our tails off. And so when it came down to it, I think there was 9 guys left, and I had bowed out. 9 guys left, and they ended up. What was it? The very last day, I think they pared down to 5 or 6 guys. I forget what it was. I wasn't there, so I didn't participate in that portion.
And you went to a different lake every day.
No, actually, we started off. It was all mostly on the Columbia. We were just in different pools, and each pool fit different. It really did. So Columbia, the section out of Arlington that we launched out of, had I forget the pool name. I don't think it's the Wallula. It's the next one down. So that pool went from down past the John Day River all the way up towards Tri-City, the dam below there. And that run, if you were to make that run on good flat water, I think that's a 1 hour run. And if you were to make it from dam to lock, I didn't. It might even be a little bit longer than that. And then we bypassed that next lock, the next lake, and that's all they are, the pools. And we bypassed that, drove clear down into the Dalles and fished that. And that's more narrowy gorge stuff, and breaks, little current breaks, old road beds, and railroad beds, and there's all kinds of neat features in this river, as the river was once just a river meandering, to where they started damming it up, and all of those old channels and road beds and everything were all filled up. And then from there, they moved back up to the next pool. To finish out the last day. I think Luke Johns ended up winning that. He's one of our young guns here, and quite honestly, I would love to see if he gets a chance. I'd love to see him take a swing at it back east. He's got the chop. We've got a lot of guys that are really got the skills and the ability. It's just time and distance and ability to get to do that. I don't know what his aspirations are. I know he's doing school and everything, but he would be a great addition to any circuit back east.
I was looking on maps here. Where did you launch again? What was it called?
The first launch we went out of Arlington on the Oregon side. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we went all the way up to the next dam north was, what's the name of the little thing, right? From there, there's one set of locks, dam and locks, and all the way down past the John Day River will be the next dam.
Man, it's pretty big. That's amazing. Is that is that primarily smallmouth? I know that you're a smallmouth expert, but is there largemouth there too? Are you hooking a sturgeon every now and then? I mean, how's that water?
It was a couple of years, or last year, not this year. Last year we had our kickoff series down there, and we fished out of the John Day River because the water was we had 50-mile-an-hour winds, 45 to 50-mile-an-hour gusts. We had constant 25 to 30 miles an hour, and so they put us on the John Day River, and everybody thought we're going to go in there and smallmouth. It's a world-class smallmouth fishery, but little did we know that we were going to be weighing in 7 and 8 pound, 7 pound largemouth.
Wow!
And so there's that whole system. They're just in little backwater areas, and you get out on the river. We had one of our guys on the first tournament make it into the last day. It was day 2. He ended up catching 120 keepers. 120. I think, but he ended up getting to register. Keep in mind, we're putting those into Kearney X, so there's time involved in all of this. So he had 20 keepers logged in Kearney X. I thought I was doing good with 20 or so, and 20 was a good number. 53 fish, and I didn't even make the top 10 cut numbers.
Because there's 2 ways to qualify, right? It's most fish and weight. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. We have 14-inch size limit, and then from there, it's if we can get it to 14, then we keep our best 5, and we cull those. But at the same time, we're catching fish. We have to catch, measure. If it goes 14, we photograph it, submit it to Kearney X, and then once accepted, we can continue fishing. So you have this total weight score. Let's say guys are coming in with 20 pounds, and then 19 pounds, 18 pounds. They're going to take the top 5 of those weights, clear down to 16 pounds, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, and then they're going to take 20 fish, 19 fish, 18 fish, those top 5, and they make it into the top 10, and from there it's just weight, total weight. That's it. You're looking at your 5 biggest fish. Now so you can make it in the top 10 either way.
Okay. So most fish and biggest weight, and then top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're taking the picture for Tourney X, are you showing a length on that? Do you have rules like
Yep.
kayak, belly to belly, fish facing left, mouth closed, or is it just a fish on board?
Exactly what it is. We're using the same board. We're using a board, approved by Tourney X. We have to show our whatever it is, our float, for the day that they assign us our float. The float's got to be in there.
Yep.
Almost better to have an ID like if we're going to do this like the kayakers, might as well have an ID that we put down there for the tournament. There's only 50.
Right.
But the float works fine. I ended up having mine blow out on one tournament, so I ended up having to use my driver's license, covered up all the good stuff, and just use my driver's license.
Oh man,
because those were my fish, and that was me. But, it's a good thing. There's checks and balances to everything. I think that's just one more step. We're there. The whole don't cover the tail. It is. It's just like kayak.
yeah, yeah, awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it gave me a new appreciation for what the kayakers do, because they're in a thing and they're doing this. They're wrangling this fish and trying to get it on the board and take a picture of it. And here we are. We got this. I got a 20 foot 7-inch bass cat puma. This thing's as stable as they come, and I'm fighting this fish. It's all over the place. A couple of them I've had to tackle and hold them like a football, and yeah, it's pretty funny. We bunch of us sniffling and whining out there trying to get a picture of fish. These guys in a kayak are sitting in a little narrow thing.
It's challenging for sure. It's challenging for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a kayak hint. Maybe it'll work in your bass boat, but this is a Bass and Magazine weekend tip. If you will take your board and lean it to one side and let that fish sit mouth closed against the bump board at an angle, it calms the fish down tremendously. It'll still jump, it'll still move, but 90% less than it would if it was horizontal and level.
Oh, well, it's how bass are. Sometimes the harder you pull them, the harder they fight, right? Whereas if you just start easing them in, they'll swim right up on your thumb. When you're trying to get a hot little smallmouth to calm down, and you're just trying to pin them down, the harder you push, the harder he fights back. And then those smallmouth, man, they just open their mouth and that's it. Just like, you can't get them shut. It's like, holy smokes, these things are vicious.
Yeah.
It's fun. I enjoy the element. It's a great layer. Having done so many other things, going from just regular fishing in California to the Bassmaster and then back again. This is just a neat level. I enjoy it. Learning more, doing more, just keeps keeping the sport interesting.
So I assume you're fishing the apex?
Yeah, I am. I kind of had to lay off the last one. I had a little family medical issue that came up, and so I've just kind of been sticking close to the house, and now we've been able to get up and get going, and we're out here camping for a week, and just going out and catching trout and enjoying some nice fresh air and camping and barbecue every night and enjoying ourselves. But yeah, that's the plan. The Apex events, I really like the series. I think it's got some really neat characteristics. I like the way they twist and turn some things around, and you could, like the last event, they said, yeah, you're going to be fishing this lake, but they ended up starting everybody on another lake, and then they cut to the top 10 and moved them back to this lake. So it's interesting, Yeah. Last year we went to Columbia. We were going to fish Columbia, but we got there, everybody's on the way, and they said, oh, by the way, you're fishing the John Day River. nobody knows anything about it. Like, what is that? Just a little creek. It's a creek compared to the Columbia River. So
Right.
yeah, it was interesting.
Big difference between those two for sure.
Yeah, it is. The standard tournaments, everybody does a standard tournament. And there's always going to be some feathers that get ruffled when something new comes along, and maybe it's not exactly your cup of tea or whatever. I still remember when I was fishing the Sitco 150s, right? Was it the Sitco? Yeah, the Bassmaster Sitco 150. And
Yeah.
I remember them coming in saying, hey, gentlemen, here's the deal. You guys are fishing for your livelihoods this year because at the end of the year, 100 of you are going to stay in the Bassmaster Tour and 50 of you are going to go away. It really upset a lot of guys because they really had to buckle down and do well. And everybody knew that it was just one bad tournament. And they could be, their career with BASS could be over. And it really upset a lot of guys. Now, it changed the format of how we were fishing, the TV, what you wear, flip flops, shower shoes, as they would say. You couldn't wear shorts, and you had to be. It was a professional circuit, and I really thought it was a neat deal to kind of push things in that direction. But with professional tournament bass fishing, I think that some sacrifices need to be made by the game in order to get into a position where we be more marketable to make brand. Let's let we've got tires, and we've got all kinds of brands that are out there that are looking, but you know, um, much like NASCAR, I mean, they'll sell in. What?
Well, darn it, man. We're having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah.
Don't quite know.
I mean,
I'm here.
He's in the woods. He might, he's at a campsite at state park or whatever. He might not have the greatest service because now he's froze totally.
Am I? How about now?
I think it's a little better right now.
Okay, I'm standing on one leg on the highest part of my boat. We'll just lean up against the butt seat. And this is the campground behind me.
That is. It's pretty there. Tall pine trees. Beautiful place.
Those are trees. Yeah, those are trees.
Right.
Those aren't yucca plants or nothing like that. Those are trees. Yeah.
It's still hot.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think Apex is going to bring some neat things to it. I know there's a lot of things that the company can do to help get more people to watch, and there's all that's coming, I'm sure. I know that Jeremy Hart and Randy are working their tails off all those possible to log in, watch, and enjoy, and bring it up to to the standards we're at. But I think it's a hoot. Just being able to fish it. If a guy could get out and fish this, I think they would really enjoy the format because it's a challenge. You have to pick a way to qualify, and then from there you better have a back plan to take the win. You can't just go out and say, "Hey, I'm going to throw a flipping stick the whole time," unless you're on those kind of fish. But there's other times where you got to get in, and if you can make the top 10 and what you never found the big fish, but you catch a bunch of 14 fish, then it's a whole different. Quite honestly, catching a 14-inch fish everywhere isn't as easy as it sounds.
Right.
It's pretty tough. 14-inch fish sometimes. Even on the Delta, we went down to the Delta. It was tough. There's times where you can catch 14 fish. Either it's going to be a 4 to 7 pounder, or it's not going to be a fish. You'll catch a little 10-inch or 12-inch fish. You're either going to get a giant, or you're just going to get a run. So.
Okay, we have a question for you, Greg.
Go for it.
This is from Cajun Rob. He said, "Hey, Greg, love your frenzy nail shaky heads." He said, when you fish for largemouth, smallmouth, or spotted bass, do you vary your weights or plastics depending on which species? It comes through the rocks great.
That is a great question, and I do. So, if I'm fishing shallow, I'm usually fishing the 3/16. If I'm fishing shallow for me is anywhere down to 10 foot. If I'm fishing, I'll probably go with a quarter, and that's from 10 foot down to 30, 40, 50 foot. I don't like fishing deep, but I do, fish are where they are. You got to catch them. The one thing I do like about the nail is if I'm fishing largemouth on like Clear Lake in shallow water, you're talking 2 to 4 foot of water in around rocks and grass. I'll use a quarter ounce. Pardon me. I'll use a quarter ounce. And I'm really aggressive with the rod. So I'll go up to 10 pound test, tippet, because I'll do a top shot. I'll use 15 pound test fins braid with 6 or 8 pound test gamma edge line, and then I'll move it faster. I'll pop it, and I'll keep that thing moving where it's hitting rocks and really knocking, and I'm creating reaction bites. I do a lot of that in the spring, and fall, late in fall. For whatever reason, those fish, that reaction strike is it. Either they're eating or they're reacting to it. So I find that usually in the spring, they're not just eating it. I'm creating the bite. That's for largemouth. Spotted bass. Spotted bass are funny. They're finicky. They're every. I did use I'll show you if I can. Up there, I like to work a grub through the grass. So what I do is I take a nail and I rig it weedless, and it'll pretty much run weedless all the way through. But I'll run this thing weedless through the grass, through the trees, and the head will just knock through. And then when it clears, is usually when I'm getting bit. So I get all the action of a grub, and I still have the weedless technique of the nail. And that really helped out a lot up on the Columbia, because it was, if I used an open hook with the grub, I was getting hung up on the rock. It got a hole in it. It's just a bunch of different rocks. This actually came to the rocks a lot better by covering the hook and making it weedless. So I used a nail to do it. Wood is what it is. You can knock around the wood, but yes, I do. I vary the speed and the weights, and just play with it with that. Like I said, I like to use the weight, the quarter ounce, to hit rock or hit wood, make a create. That answer it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. We missed a little bit of that because of technical difficulties, but we can't do anything about that.
Let me go stand up again.
You have a major accomplishment?
Yeah, we'll find another part.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. You have a major accomplishment. I don't know if you can hear me. That a lot of professional anglers don't have. You have a 100-pound belt for Bassmaster. Do you want to talk about that?
That was so amazing to do that. That was really deal with catching that quality of fish, and quite honestly, I was running on 30 pounds a day until the last day, and this is Well, I even hate to say this because it sounds whiny when I do, but I ended up the last day get covered up by a bunch of club fishermen that pre-fished me for the first 3 days. So every spot I went to was covered up, and I was laughing. I started laughing about it because I had to move um, to find areas, and I had probably about 10 key areas that I could run to, and I could catch fish, and I would go through and catch a quick limit, and I'd say this. I don't want to sound flippant, but I would catch a quick limit that weighed anything from 17 to 25 pounds.
Jeez.
And then I would just go looking for a big fish. I know, right? It sounds like, oh yeah, what?
Yeah,
But it was
whatever.
that simple. It was that simple. They were ambush spots, and fish were just on them. It was epic. And the first day I got there, and there was a couple of guys, and they were fighting and yelling at each other because they were trying to get in there. I says, "Hey man, can I get in?" And both of them looked at me, was like, "No,
No.
you can't come in here." I was like, we're here. You know, we're here. You go away. It's like, okay, are you sure? I mean, come on, guys. I really want to fish here. Helicopters flying around, camera guys standing up next to me, and these guys are going, yeah, no, sorry, it's not going to happen. So I ended up taking off and pulled into the next area, and there's a couple of guys there. And then I pulled in, and I remember this one guy, he was in a patio boat. And I started laughing. I go, even the patio boat guy's fishing me. And the cameraman goes, no way. I go, I'm telling you, that's the same patio boat following me around.
Darn it, I want to hear this.
I got a little dog, and this dog jumped up there, and it's like, I go, let's just go find some fish. I ended up with 15 pounds or something like that. Just, half of what I was weighing in, but good for Steve for videos figuring out how to catch fish. And Skeet, as soon as Skeet seen the videos, he looked at me and said, "You're in trouble." I just started laughing. He laughed at me because he knows the area. He knows the lake. Once he realized what I was doing, he just keyed in, and then he just jumped in. So, but both those guys caught him the last day. I just couldn't, bag 20 pounds, just a pound in it. But, oh no, I'd been with 15 and lose a tournament. By the way, I believe in this record book, that's the largest margin separation loss of any angler's hood. I had the largest margin between myself and second place and Andrew. So I got a double whammy going on.
So it was in 2007. You had 108
Yeah, are we froze up?
and you didn't win.
108 pounds.
Oops, say that again.
It was in
2007, what?
right? And you had 108 pounds, but you didn't win.
Yep,
That is correct, huh? Jeez.
I didn't win it.
Wow.
Didn't win it.
108 pounds, and you did not
108
win.
pounds, and I took third.
Third.
Wow.
Where was this?
Yep. I
What
got a
lake was this
thundercloud
on?
going over. That's why it's breaking up.
What lake was this on, Greg?
Yeah. Took third with 108 pounds for 4 days.
Brad, do you know what lake this was on?
No, I don't. What lake? Where was this?
That was on California.
On
Clear
what in
Lake.
California? I'm sorry.
We don't have to. We're all fit.
Damn, I don't know.
Hey, there's huge technical difficulties because I got kicked off Facebook also. On my Facebook Live, it kicked me off. It will not post the video, and it will not let me go back on. So it's not just you. It's on me, too, on my side.
Oh no, this happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the real world trying to deal with this technology, man. So this was in California. This happened. 108 pounds, and Greg Gutierrez got third, guys. 108 pounds. What lake was that on in California? That's what we're trying to figure out.
Oh, that was Clear Lake.
Clear Lake, California. Thank you.
Clear Lake, California.
Wow.
Clear
Yep.
Lake, California, guys. 108 pounds, and Greg comes in third. That's
Yeah.
the stuff of legends.
Yeah.
I look up there, I see that belt, and I just start chuckling every time I see it. It's like, that wasn't supposed to happen like that.
Right.
No,
But, oh, there we go.
100 pounds. You think you'd had it in the bag, man.
Yeah, he weighed in 108.
108 pounds.
108 pounds in Bassmaster Elite Series.
108.
In the elites. Wow.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, it was fun. It was a really fun event. That's when Kevin Van Dam said, "Hey, don't leave those fish biting," and I knew I left 20-pound fish biting, but I ended up weighing a 10-pounder in because I went looking. I mean, I put away the swim baits and picked flip and stick, and I made one good flip and caught a 10-pounder. So me and Davey Height tied for a big fish with a 10-pounder.
Wow. Wow. A double-digit fish and you
Yeah.
tie. Yeah.
That's just on a different scale, man. That's
Say
just
that again?
That's just on a different scale. I mean, than what we're used to, you know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Brad over there, you know, is fishing with Chuck Justice, but
Man.
Well, you know, I fished Grand Lake also when Mike McClellan won it on Grand, and I sat in one spot. I was doing a technique that I had developed in California, a football head jig, but with an articulating head jig, and I showed everybody the jig, but I didn't show that it was articulating because that was, you know, trade secrets. I had designed this bait for a company way back in the early 90s called Dust Team. And I developed this at one Bassmaster Tour event, open event on Shasta with it. And then I took it to Grand Lake and I was grinding this football head through the rocks, and it was just banging around, and the hook would just swivel along, and it was really neat. Ended up taking a third there by doing that also, but I was just crushing fish, and turns out that Mike McClellan was having the tournament of his life and just ended up. I don't even think he had. Yeah, I don't even think he had even waited the last day to end up beating us. He was on. That was a brutal day right there. But it was, you know, sometimes you're on those fish and sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
yeah, yes,
You know,
exactly.
how many times can you say you landed on, you know, 30-pound limits? And to boot, that was back in the day when we had co-anglers in the back of our boat. So my co-angler was coming out with 25 pounds a day, also 20 to 25 pounds a day, you know, and it was like, okay, here you go, man, get your shots at it while you can. And it was early spring.
Do you remember who your co-angler was?
No, there was 3 different co-anglers I fished with.
Yeah.
And that's been a long time ago. That's been many co-anglers ago.
Right.
Many co-anglers ago. So I wish I did. I wish I could go back and say howdy to all the guys that I fished with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They remember.
They remember.
Yeah, they do. I could, but I do.
Those guys that you put on 25-pound baskets, they remember you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He tells a story.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I've had times where I've just backed guys up and set the power poles down and say, "Have at it. You got about an hour," and then I'm taking over.
Wow.
You know, and those were all the small fish would come in there, and I'd use those guys to sit there and work fish over, and then I just fish the outskirts or outside edges looking for the big pre-spawn fish to move in. And the guys would be up there catching all the bucks, and they'd move all these bucks off, and those hens would move into those key positions. And I just spin the boat around and go, okay, sorry. It's, but they were happy. I mean, they were
Yeah.
happy.
If they got 5 fish, they were happy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've done it with guys on spotted bass lakes too, where it's like, if the sun comes out today, it's going to change the bite for everybody, and I want you to catch all the fish you can. And I'm looking on my Lowrance's, looking down, going, dude, there's a big mark underneath this boat, cast right there. And he's going, really? I'm going, right now, reel up and cast down. I want you to catch as much as you can, because when the sun comes out, it starts pinning those fish down. I don't want you anywhere near me. I want to give you all your chances now.
Yeah.
If you give me my chances later. I was down. It was a Wild West Bass tournament. I was down 5 pounds going into the last day, and I ended up winning that tournament by a half a pound. Of course, I caught almost a 6 pound spot with a bunch of 3 pounds on top.
Jeez.
But that's what happens when the sun, certain things change. And man, if you're on it, you're on it. And that just happened to be one of the days where I stumbled into a bucket of thumbs and pulled out a big old fish.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Something that Jay and I always bring up with our guest is, real quick, I just want your take on confidence baits, and what you feel about them.
Well, I'll start with co-anglers too. And this is the funny thing, guys will get in, okay, what should I bring? And I tell them, if the bite's tough, I just tell them, dude, the bite is really tough. Bring your confidence, because you need to stay focused all day long. So there's lots and lots of baits I have confidence with. I think over the years, started to work on this whole fly thing, because I've been donating too much money to Float and Fly, so I'm going to try and put a little effort into that. But as far as down baits, or reaction baits, I really like throwing a jerk bait, and I don't like throwing bait, So, I'm strong on king curtain. I throw a ball like I like to. I can catch fish on a jig. And what a lot of guys don't realize about me is, because they see a lot of spinning rods in my hand. Is I love them. I mean, and if I can just have flipping sticks on the boat, that's it. I'm really confident. I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just pick up a flipping stick and go. But yeah, I think guys have to have a well-rounded group of tools in your toolbox in order to get the job done. If you're tournament fishing, you just got to remember that, sometimes cloudy conditions are great, and sometimes sunny conditions are better. So, and that was it. It was cloudy, rainy, and I looked up and I seen the sun start to peek through clouds, and I said, hey, look, if this comes up, I'm going to change everything I'm doing, and you're not going to be able to catch a fish, and I want you to catch everything. So that's honestly, that's it. Is being well versed in as many techniques as you can, and do it. Sure, throwing a wacky rig Cinco is going to catch you fish anywhere and just about any time, but very rarely do I throw one. So I would rather fish other baits that give me at least the same result, only faster. And so if I can get an effective fish catching bait, like I could throw a weightless wacky rig Senko, or I can throw a pocket rocket that's got a little faster quiver, and I'll put it on an 1/8 ounce or a 16th ounce whack-a-sack jig, wacky rig, and I'll fire that thing out, and I'll cover more water with it, and I'm more effective with it, I got a better hookup ratio. I don't have to worry about the baits tumbling over. So things like that, I really look at, and if it's a low percentage bait, if it's a, I hate to name companies when I talk bad about them, but if it was like something like a glide bait, S waiver type of glide bait, low percentage bait to me,
Right.
high percentage fish looking at it, but there's better built baits that have better hookup ratios, um, and are more effective in their action. Um, if you could get one of those baits that was had the right action every single time, you didn't have to go through 20 of them to get one. You're throwing baits out, then yeah, I would be more inclined to do that. But I want to be able to get a bait. If I'm got a bite going on a crankbait and I want to throw an M65 and an 11, I know that bait every single time is gonna do the same exact thing. It's gonna have the same exact sound. It's like when you walked around, everybody was looking for the old um, crankbaits. What do you call it for? Oh gosh darn it! What is it?
Riverport?
Yeah, the old warts. I mean, I got some of the old ones, but I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you listen to those baits and you go, "Oh, that's a loser," you just throw it away,
That's
right?
why,
I
that's
mean,
why I know exactly what you're talking about.
it is what it is. So confidence is in not just in your skills, but in your tackle and equipment. It's like guys go, "Oh, I use this line or that line," and I've tried them all. I've tried everything. Um, and then I get down, talk to this guy, and he says, "I got the best line going." I said, "Explain it to me." And he tells me why his bait line is the best. I said, "Okay, I'll go buy some and try." And he goes, "Here, buy some, or I'll give you some." He gives me a little. I go out and I call my buddy up, and I go, "Let's see if I can break this line." And that was it. Let's go to and see if I can break the line. And I went out there. I knots. I burned my knots. Did everything I could. I went up and I scuffed it with a pair of scissors and tried to break the line. And it held. I haven't switched. I won't switch. I just can't. I mean, I've used Gamma ever since. Expensive. Yes, it is. Am I afraid to break it? Not at all. So confidence in my rods, my line, my plastics, my hard baits. I don't switch sponsors often. I've stayed with the key sponsors that have helped me, and I am confident and I've learned the bait. So, you know, if you get on my boat, bring your confidence. That's it. If it's a tough bite, bring your confidence. And if you end up fishing a tournament against me, you know what I mean? Try something new.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're going to say, "Hey, the sun's going to come out," and the game plan changes. That at me as a co-angler in your back of your boat, I'm like, "All right, come on, son, because I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to watch you. I'm
Yeah,
going to try to mimic you. I'm going to go, and it's an opportunity for me, especially if I've already caught 5 because you put me on them. Now let's try something new because you're going after big fish. I need to be in the
yeah,
back of the boat and learn."
yeah, exactly. And it was a tough bite on Shasta. I mean, my co-angler had like 10.5 pounds behind me. I only had 10. And I asked him, are you okay with this? And he goes, "I'm good, Greg. I'm happy." I go, "Okay, because it's it's going to get tough for you." And I'm just trying to tell you, I'm sorry. I'm apologizing in advance because you're not going to be able to duplicate me. I targeted um, boulders, rocks, bluffs that created a small shade break where the fish would tuck against. And then I went in. I'd make 2-3 casts to each one of those things, and I had 100 of them that I knew of over the years, and I just started running them up the river, and I ran them all the way back the river, and that was it. All I needed was 5 good bites, and that's what I ended up doing. I ended up getting 5 good bites, called out a bunch of 2-pound runs.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah.
You
Yeah.
were talking about your sponsors. Do you want to do some shout outs and talk about your sponsors real fast?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's start off with my new whip. I moved over to Bass Cat this year, and I could not be more impressed with the boat, and and the performance, and becoming a part of a family. I mean, Bass Cat took me on after 30 years of running another brand. They took me on open arms, and I feel blessed for sure. Mercury Marine is always taking care of me, and you know, there's a lot of great stuff out there, but I run Lowrance for the ease and the ability to do it. Um, the new motor guides I'm running are bad to the bone. And I gotta say this, you guys, if you guys are fishing, we talk about smallmouth. One of the key things about smallmouth when they get on those tough bites is the way they pull the bait in, and they don't have as much pop as a largemouth sometimes. I developed a lighter lighter tipped rod, and it's a T2 Ultra Finesse through iRod, and the tip is really soft, but it's got a really firm backbone right behind it. That helps when the bite gets tough. I will switch over to those instead of throwing a medium action. I'll throw a medium light, and that G2 Ultra Finesse from iRod is money. Matt Newman nailed it when I asked him, told him what I wanted. He nailed it. So. Gamma line again. I'm not gonna switch, even though it's the most expensive stuff on the market. It's just good stuff. Finn's braid is got a new braid developed specifically for spinning reels, and it's aces. Reaction Innovations. I have been with Reaction Innovations from the very beginning, and we were first when he was first, and he helped me, allowed me to help him design a finesse worm. And you know, I can say that they are family forever. And then also I got to shout out to Dave Swinside for um, getting me into Duo Realis with Duo Realis, an amazing hard bait company, and as well as Roman made. But you know, there's other folks out there. My batteries with next gen batteries, and you know, I know there's a few more guys, Wu Tungsten, and you know, these guys have all helped me with my performance throughout the years. And like I say, I stick with the things that are proven, and and help me uh, finish strong. So that's where my consistency is I stay with the people that are good for me.
And another that I know of is on your shirt.
Oh, the frenzy baits.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. It's hard sometimes because the frenzy baits was not my company. It was my friend Ryan Habenax, and he had asked me to help him, and I helped him design some baits, and he decided to go back to school, needed some money, and he offered it to me. And so I bought him out, and the deal was is I couldn't just buy him out. I had to pay him a monthly payment. That way he wouldn't spend all his money when he went to college. He was using me to do his bills. It was
Very good.
perfect. He nailed it on that one. But you know, I designed lures that, because I've designed a bunch of lures, you know, like I said, that swiveling football head. I'm not going to mention Tommy Biffle's name, getting in my boat and pulling that out and going, what is this? Well, that's not for you to look at, Tommy. Well, he did it, but it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. We all, you know, guys, there's a lot of baits that are out there. So
Right.
anyhow, but I've done some neat things. This nail thing is um, really impressive. And I've heard many a store owner go, "Oh, it's a shaky hit," and I just start laughing. It's not. If you had a chance to sit down with, you know, 5 minutes with me explaining it to me, um, it would be, you would go, "Oh, okay." Shaw Grigsby came up to me and he goes, "I heard about this nail. Why is it so much better than just this?" I explained it to him and he goes, "All right."
All right.
Comes back at the end of the show and he goes, "Hey, I bought like $200 worth of those things." It's like, good deal, man. But they work. They're just a really good bait. And then this whack a sack bait nobody talks about it much, but it really is a really cool bait. It's just an articulating wacky rig bait that, you can nose hook a tube on it. You can nose hook beaver baits on it. You can wacky rig Senkos and pocket rockets and worms and flirts and you name it. You can do so many different things with this bait. It's cool. I use it to add a little speed to a bait to get it down there. I developed a bigger one for back east, so now you can wacky rig a Senko on a shoal, a 20-foot shoal out on one of those ledges out there, and you could put a big 8L Senko bait and rig it wacky rig where no one's doing that stuff, and it's just big 4/0 hook, got some power to it.
Awesome.
But nobody believes me. It's like, oh, you're just trying to sell another bait. I just laugh. I just laugh. Yeah. Kick you now, but don't buy it. Not today. Buy it next week, okay?
Well, thank you, Greg.
Hey, I enjoyed myself. You bet.
We'll get you back on when we don't have audio difficulties. Everybody's got a better signal, and we'll get you back again. I appreciate you coming on the Bassin Magazine podcast.
Yeah, when Greg's back in the city, we will have him on again.
Yeah.
For sure. We're on some Wi-Fi. Yeah. Exactly. I'm waiting for all the what do you call it? The beams and the bird wings and everything. I mean, I am buried. You could see the trees that are surrounded by it. We are out in the mountains. Right.
That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you guys get questions together and and put them together, hit me up, do it again. Me on Instagram, double-g.pro.angler and throw questions out. We'll get some questions out and get them ready, and we can do this again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into tuning into the Bassin Magazine podcast. Bassin Magazine, guys. It's the official magazine of the Weekend Angler. Boy, I really flubbed that one.
You're good. It's all good.
Hey,
thank you. Jay, thank you.
I did my first article with Bassin Magazine.
Oh, you did?
Really?
With Bassin Magazine. Yeah, exactly. Me and Don Ivino, Counting Stones. Yeah. I was still a co-angler. Me and Don Ivino did one. It was called Counting Stones. I turned the phrase Counting Stones when I was finesse fishing, and they wanted to know. Paul Kenyatta wrote it. I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember when?
Gosh, it'd have to be 95.
Okay.
Ish. Yeah, 95-ish. Maybe 94.
Okay.
Starting to show my age with my gray and my memory.
Yeah, I'll get over there and look through the archives. So
yeah, take a look.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you know that you were our first angler spotlight for the Apex series?
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
I've been out of touch. Hey, very nice.
I'm busy, so
nice.
I'll get you a couple magazines. If anybody wants to read,
cool.
You can email me at bassetonline.com, and I'll get you a magazine if anybody out there, any of the listeners want it. So, Greg, I'll get you a copy also.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Brad. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. And, to our listeners, have fun this weekend, man. You only get to do this once. So
stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm inside my house.
Yeah. It's miserable.
Okay, guys. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you very much, Brad. It was a great podcast. And guys, all I can do is say I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but that happens. That's the real world of podcasting.
Yeah.
And thank you.
That's right. We'll see you.
Man, no one's